What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In this video I have a very special guest. His name is Tomer Rabinovich, and I'm literally trying to get him on the show for the last 2 years, and only now he was available to come and talk to me and share his insights, really crazy insights on how you can manage your teams, how you can grow and scale using other people, other team members in your team, so you can really focus on growth and what is the mindset required to do that. It's a very fascinating video, so make sure that you watch everything and share your thoughts with us after you watch it. Let's start. All right, guys, so we have here Tomer Rabinovich, one of the experts in the field of Amazon FBA, someone that I really enjoy listening to and learning from. And it took me a really long time to bring him as a guest, since he's a very busy person, helping aggregators and helping a lot of sellers and having his own businesses. So for those of you that don't really know about you, why don't you give a little introduction about yourself, Tomer?
Sure. Hi, Tomer. Very good to be here. Before I start, I will say that I've been to a lot of podcasts and events, and people mentioned to me your name a bunch of times, and I think we're confused a bunch of times between us because we have the same first name and we're both Israeli, so that was kind of funny. But
actually, people asking me, I feel that your name is doing me a lot of good work, so thank you for that.
Yeah, sure. So I've been selling on Amazon since 2015. I have multiple brands of my own, and for the past I think 5 years now, something like that, I've been consulting mainly larger sellers, so 7-8 figure sellers, aggregators, SaaS companies, a whole bunch of people in the space. And a few months ago, I launched a book called Ride the Amazon Wave. That's what I did in COVID. You know, everyone did different things. I wrote a book. So that book is the only book that I know of that exists for active Amazon sales. So it's not a book on how to sell on Amazon. It's more like you're already selling on Amazon. This is how you scale, how you build a team, how you exit. So it has a bit of everything in it.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's the same way as your approach, right to the point, no fluff, and that's what I really like and love about how you really represent complex topics. And I think that based on me listening to a few of the podcasts that you've been guest on other people podcasts, I really loved the way that you approach managing the business. And maybe it's not really a sexy topic, but it's the top, or that's what will take your business to the next level if you have the right fundamentals and systems. And I think big part of it is employees. And your approach is a little different than mine, which is giving more freedom to employees. I think that I adopted a lot of it recently in the last year or so. And I personally work with Filipinos for 13 years now in my previous e-commerce experience, and of course with Amazon. And I think it's very could help your business grow and scale. And I want to hear from you how you actually using it. So, why don't you share like your insights on the most critical tasks that Amazon FBA business can delegate to virtual assistants from your experience?
Sure. So let me maybe first talk about the initial structure that I had. So I basically built my business in patches. You know, I needed customer support, so I hired someone for support. I needed PPC, I hired someone to do PPC. I wanted product research, I wanted a graphic designer, and I just hired more and more and more people. I had full people on my team that way. Some were part-time, full-time, freelancers that were very active, and so on. And the problem was everyone reported to me, and I was the bottleneck of my own business. So that was even worse than when I was doing everything on my own. So then one day I decided to kind of restart. So I just let everyone go. I had a 7-figure business back then, and I decided to kind of start over again with the business running and everything running, but just to kind of start from scratch in terms of employees. And then what I did, and I think that was a turning point in my business, is to basically hire based on more of the person and personality than actually like skill sets or things that they already know how to do. So I hired like blank slate people, but that also are management material. So similar to you, I hired a team in the Philippines. So I hired the first 2 people very quickly because, again, I already had a pretty big business. And both of them were like management material. So that means that one was very creative, one was very analytic. So I could give both of them like a lot of tasks. Like the creative did customer support, product research, doing some social media posts, talking to photographers, graphic designers, but it all took time. She started as customer support, but when I hired her, I already told her, look, I want you to become a manager at some point, and then you will all be managing and kind of overseeing the tasks, and then you'll start hiring underneath you. And if you think, let's say, about a restaurant, it kind of happens the same way. You start as a waiter, maybe you become like a shift manager, a floor manager, and you become like an overall manager after. So you kind of promote from the bottom up instead of from the top down. And I think a lot of sales kind of go into a point where they have like a few people, but they all report to them. And that's a very difficult position to be in. So my recommendation to everyone is to have at least 1 or 2 core people in your team that are going to be like your right-hand people, are going to support you throughout the journey of your brand and business until you exit or until you do something else. But that is crucial. And a lot of sellers, I think, are, again, going to the Philippines or going to other places to kind of get cheaper employees. But what I will also say, I think I'm very good, as you mentioned, like it's simplifying complex tasks and explaining exactly what it is that I want and how I want something to get done. But a lot of sales are not like me. So to those people, what I recommend is to actually hire someone who is the same culture, maybe the same country, maybe even the same city as them, so they can sit down with them in an office or something. So that can be their core team, 1 or 2 people. And those people can then build a team, build the operations around it, the infrastructure, and then they can hire in the Philippines or Eastern Europe or wherever. So to answer your question, what should be delegated? The answer is everything. So
Everything.
and when I say everything, I mean basically all the day-to-day tasks. So there are basically there are really 2 critical components to this business. One is everything that happens from when you research a product until you launch the product. And then there is everything after the launch happens. So that is supply chain, so inventory management, supply chain, and then PPC. And finally, it's like KPIs. So basically tracking your profit, pricing, images, listings, SEO, all of that stuff. Those are the 3 components. Those are the 3 legs of basically maintaining the business. And that should really be outsourced as fast as possible, especially as you're growing. And this is the part that most Amazon sellers hate anyway. They don't want to touch that stuff. They only like product development in most cases. I think entrepreneurs in general like the new stuff, the new shiny objects, so they like to launch new things. So that's where I think Amazon sellers should spend the majority of their time. But a lot of it, or even all of it, can be outsourced as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. And to be honest, from my experience, or the way that I operated, I kind of dedicated most of the tasks except like the product development. I try to build systems to make this more like a checklists and a process that I vet and I have more control over the results. But I felt that whenever I just launched products using a huge help of the virtual assistants, things didn't really work as I launched it, as I was more involved in the process. So I want to ask you, is there any special mechanisms that you put in place, especially for product development or really sensitive tasks like PPC, where a lot of money involved and it could really hurt your product to a point that, you have a really success or bestseller item and then you lose the bestseller? What you do with these kind of tasks, you pay someone like $3 and he is in charge of a product that makes $3,000 profit a day. What is the really balance between those things? It's kind of scary, right?
Yeah, definitely. But as everything you do in this business is, especially when you delegate tasks, is you start small. So if you are going to hire a PPC person, if you already know how you are doing PPC, right, and you do it well, then just teach them whatever you do and just kind of slowly release more and more to them. Same thing, customer support is easy to explain. So customer support, for example, if I want to hand it over to someone, they can kind of go over my shoulder and see how I respond to customers. Then I can see how they would respond, but then I respond myself. Then I can let them respond, but see me in the email so I kind of see what's going on. And finally, I can just let them go and they do the responses and I don't see anything anymore, right? So that's kind of...
You don't check it?
No.
Okay.
No, at some point you just don't check it, because checking it, the time that you're gonna waste on it is not even worth it. I'm at a point now where let's say you have a product, right, that sells for $20.
Yeah.
My employees know if they can double that to make the customer happy, they do it. They don't even need to tell me or their manager. They just do it anyway, and that's it. We don't even need to know about it at this point. It's irrelevant. Your time is super valuable. If you waste half an hour on this, it's really not worth your time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, in terms of PPC, so it kind of starts the same way. So you do that. The other option you can do, let's say you don't know how to do PPC properly, right? So, or you're not confident about your process. So what you can do is you can either give your employee a course that you trust on the topic, right? Or YouTube channels and stuff like that. And they can kind of learn and then summarize everything for you. And then you can kind of learn it together as you go. Another option is to outsource it to either a freelancer or an agency, and then kind of study what they're doing or the tools that they're using. And then as you kind of have that agency with you, still not that person in-house. What I say, and it's also in my book, that if you are not the expert on PPC, you need someone on your team that is an expert. And if you don't have anyone, that someone has to be you instead. So I think a lot of sellers are kind of not really interested in learning PPC, which is fine. I get it. But this is the second biggest expense in your business. You have to understand it on a good enough level, so you know how to read your reports, you know what placements are, you need to know what ad types there are, and so on. So this is like a crucial point in your business to understand it. And I think a lot of sellers are missing that big time.
Yeah. I think you need to know all parts of your business in order to also delegate it correctly. But I agree, there are some parts that reporting and just managing them.
Yeah. In terms of product development, what I will say is that what I still do in my business, right? I have what I call green lights. Green lights basically means that I just give the okay to continue forward with whatever it is we're doing. So we have a pretty harsh criteria on like product selection. So my team by now, it's been like we've been together for a few years now, but they know when they present to me a product, and if I give it the green light, then they can go ahead and check for pricing on Alibaba, sourcing agents, and so on. But the first thing is, do we really want to do this product? Like, let's say we look at the product, let's say the numbers are amazing, right? But maybe it's a product that is, let's say, a face mask, right, as an example. So a face mask is something that will probably not work the same way for everyone, right? Not everyone is going to be happy with that product. Maintaining a 4.5-star rating with such a product might be difficult to do. So if that's the case, if we believe like we cannot maintain 4.5-star rating, even if we do improve the product, it's just the nature of the product, we're not going to launch it. Doesn't matter what the numbers say, So we have like a harsh criteria on different things, but the numbers need to make sense. The product needs to fit one of our brands. We have different criteria. The product needs to have barriers to entry. We don't want a product that is super simple to source, super simple to kind of ship, was super simple to find on Amazon, and then everyone who did a course yesterday will launch it tomorrow. We don't want those type of products either. So we're looking for products with a high barrier to entry. So if they are electronic, require FDA, like we love those products, because not a lot of people want those products.
Love them too.
And
so then you have the green light. Okay.
We give the green light, then we check for pricing, sourcing agents. We want to make sure the product can actually be profitable, right? And then if we see, okay, there is some margin here, we can play with it. And then we check for reviews, negative reviews, what we think, what we like, what we don't like, the pros and cons of the existing products on Amazon. I think a lot of sellers kind of focus only on the negative stuff, try to improve that, but then they neglect the actual positive stuff, which they should keep, right? That people actually like about the product. So we do that. And then we actually send what we want to improve already to the sourcing agents, to the to factories in Alibaba, and then from that point we just develop the product. But the point is that nothing goes without me giving it the okay. So even if it's product development, even if it's a shipment out to a new product, everything goes through me. I just okay it, and that's it. But right now I'm only spending like a few hours a week on my Amazon business, and the rest of my time is for other stuff.
And these few hours going, like a lot of it going to those approvals, you feel, of the product?
A lot of it is
time consuming?
Most of it goes to meetings with my team, like with my two managers. They're managing the other 5 employees. So we have a very small team of 7 people. But yeah, most of my time goes to them. And and basically like Slack and approving stuff, and that's it. Yeah.
So basically, what I take from here, any topic, no matter how complex it is, it can be break down into, I would say, green lights, procedures that you as the top guy can approve, or someone that you knows all these rules in your team, like your manager in this case, could approve them, and then you just give the final okay, which makes sense. How these big companies like McDonald's, a lot of these, they have systems and processes, and it's very cheap labor people that actually managing
Yeah,
these
but the
businesses.
thing is, with products, it's a bit more tricky, because this is not something you can 100% delegate. I believe, as an Amazon seller, I think it's going to be super difficult to do, and also I don't know if you want to. Like, I tell sales this all the time. Like, you're one product away from doubling your business, right? That's almost always true for any size of business. So this is like the crucial point of your business. Like, a lot of, I'm sure you heard this a lot of times when you delegate tasks. Like, you have $5 an hour tasks, $50 an hour task, $5,000 an hour tasks, and so on. Product development, from an Amazon sales perspective, that's the $10,000 an hour task.
$1 million.
They should be focused on.
Yeah.
That's the one. That's the one you should really dedicate yourself to. If you sit down and research new products, right, that is a good time invested in your business. But if you all day long deal with invoices and PPC and negative reviews and supply chain, all of those things can easily be delegated and are not as important as new product launches. I worked with one of the aggregators for a few months, consulted their brand managers how to basically do a better job, right? And a few months after, I noticed that they're not launching any products. They said, look, you only launched like 1 or 2 variations in the past 6 months across 40 brands. What the hell is going on? And said, look, we don't really have a product development pipeline. And then they hired me for 6 months as a consultant to basically build it up for them. So that's what I did with them for 6 months. And now they're launching products like crazy. So I think that aggregators, that was one of the mistakes that they made, which is just acquiring businesses, and then product development stops at that point because the seller is no longer on the team, and whoever had the passion for the brand is no longer there. So I think it's crucial to have a product development pipeline in any business, especially if you want to sell it. A lot of sellers make mistake of like stopping to launch products, right? Stop developing products, and then they say, okay, I'm going to sit tight for 12 months, not doing anything just to make a profit and then sell it. It's not as attractive to buyers unless you have like 5 or 10 products coming in. Because let's say you want to get a 4x multiple for your business, the buyer wants to get it back in 2 years, not wait 4 years to get it back. To get it back in 2 years, they have to launch more products.
Yeah, and actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, because that's exactly what I said against the recommendation of the brokerage firm that I hired. They told me don't launch products, and I insisted, because I said, you know what, if I'm not going to sell it, at least I want to keep the business growing. So the power is within me. I have the power. If I don't sell, I come also to the negotiations with more power. I feel more confident, and I feel that helps me get a really good multiple.
Definitely. And yeah, the right way to build a business is a business that is ready to be sold, right? Because there is a 99% chance you're either going to sell the business or you're going to go bankrupt. It's probably one or the other, unless you're going to pass it on to your kids, right? That's probably what's going to happen. So if those are the two options that you have, you should build a business that's ready to be sold, right? And the way to do that is just to make it very lucrative to the buyer, to make it almost dumb for you to sell the business, the position you're in, because it's going to scale so much more, so they should buy it now.
Exactly. Right? I love it. That's the right approach for sure. I love the way that you described that. And, that connects me to the next question, which is like, what is your managing style? It looks like that you give a lot of freedom to your people, to the employees. How you kind of feel with this, or how you trust them so much, and how they stay with you for such long? I told you I have experience of 13 years. People come and live in a very high rate, and I feel there is something wrong either that I do or a lot of other people doing. So teach us, what is the magic for that? What is your mindset, and how you approach your employees to make them stay, make them happy, and make them or the way that you trust them?
So I think that most of the people that are listening will agree that we started this business to have more freedom, right? That, like, freedom is a big word, but basically freedom means different things to everyone, but it basically means to have more time to do whatever it is that you want. Now, a lot of sellers kind of go into that trap of just kind of like working harder than ever before and like losing sight of things, and just in that loop of like making more money, launching more products, and then they kind of don't know why they're working so hard. So with my team, when I kind of restarted, I decided that I'm not going to hire anyone locally. I'm not going to open an office. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. I want my company to be about freedom. So when I hired people, I told them, look, I want you to be management material. I want you to grow. I want you to develop as people, but I want you to be free as well. So you can go ahead, do whatever you want. I don't care. As long as the job gets done, I'm happy, you know? So with that approach, you also kind of, I think, pull the right people into the company. When I started hiring, I kind of tracked on Time Doctor. I wanted to see how much they're actually working. All that's fine to do at the beginning, because I told them, look, the only reason I'm tracking your time is to make sure that the position I hired you for is actually a full-time position. So let's say I gave someone customer support. I didn't tell them it's a customer support position. It's a creative position in my company. It's going to start as customer support, and it's going to grow from there, right? And I think most people, not all people, but most people want to grow in the company that they're working for. If you just hire someone for customer support, that position might work for 3-4 years, but it might not. It might die after a short time, right? So what I did is I just gave them more responsibilities over time. And when it was too much work, when we noticed it's like more than full time, then we delegated more tasks from that specific position.
So you basically hire more people to help them.
Basically hire more people to help them, yeah.
Nice. And yeah, that's really cool.
And then,
And,
like, if you think about it, I only had to train 2 people. I didn't train like
Yes.
a whole bunch of people. I only trained 2 people, and they did a much better job than I did to train the other people.
yes, they're more patient. They have more time. I mean, that's their job, so their focus is only on
And
that.
also, that's all they did. They didn't have to deal with a lot of the other stuff I had to deal with, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody did customer support for 6 months, and that's all they know, they in 6 months they're gonna do it much better than I do, right? Doesn't matter how much I'm gonna focus on it. So that's crucial, I think.
And you mentioned that you as long as the job is getting done, you don't care really like what's going on, and that means
Yeah,
that
if you think about it, let's say you give someone a task like PPC, right? There are certain things they have to do to manage that position. Now, let's say they are done for the day, right? And you pay them by the hour. If you pay them by the hour, they're either going to fake that they're going to keep working, or they're going to make less money by working faster. By being more efficient, you're going to pay them less. It's not fair to them, and it's not good for you either. So at some point, usually it's like the 3 months point from my experience, is where I can just tell them, look, this is what I noticed that you're kind of working, like 150 hours, whatever, a month. And this is the hourly base, the hourly salary agreed on. That's what you're getting per month. Is that okay with you? Yes, no, whatever. If we see that you have more responsibilities, we can always raise it up, right? But that's basically it. Like, it's not that complex. And I think they also understand the reasoning behind tracking their time, behind like making sure, and it's good for both of us, right? That they kind of know that I know how much every job takes. So I think a lot of times, especially when you hire like a manager to manage your other people, a lot of times they are not aware of how much time everything takes, to actually get a job done. And I think by measuring everything to begin with, that really helps to kind of also decide what a position is going to look like.
That's smart. Now, do you have a policy in your company where you sit with them like every year and you give them a raise, or how you keep them or keep them motivated?
Yeah. So the other thing, like my team, like a few people replaced, over the years. But if you think about it, if I have 2 managers and 5 people, let's say a manager needs like 2 months off, right? The other manager can support them, or one of the people can jump up and support them. If one employee is sick or whatever, the manager knows the job, so they can just take over. The managers in the team don't have any daily tasks. They are just there to support their teams. They kind of replace me. I think a lot of sellers are missing that middle management that I have, because they can come in and support and fill those positions. If a person wants to leave or whatever, like another person can jump in and support. So I think that's crucial to have more than one person being able to do the same job in your organization. And in my case, I have at least 2 people that know how to do everything.
Yeah. So the managers are those that you keep raising their prices or keep them motivated. Do you have any, like, what is your approach to that?
Yeah, so you can keep them motivated that way, but it's also like celebrating birthdays celebrating successes that they have, winning over customers. There are a lot of ways to kind of approach it in terms of praising your employees and making them feel valuable instead of just incentivizing them with more money. I think there are like, I think because this is all like a remote business, we don't really feel it because it's like not an office and stuff. But you can do a lot of things to kind of support your team members. You can buy them like airplane tickets to whatever. Like you can buy them vacations. You can. There's a lot that you can do. You can send them gift baskets, whatever.
You have to find your way. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, whatever works with that same employee. But I think if you're attentive and you see what your employees actually like and you aim towards that, that really helps.
Nice. Okay. And, I think that you mentioned one of the common mistakes, which is hiring, like, don't have a middleman in like, a middle employee in the middle to kind of take over your work of managing, which I think it's a common mistake. But what other common mistakes you see Amazon sellers doing with their teams, pretty much? And you have experience of aggregators too, that it's a bigger teams.
Yeah. Again, I think a lot of people kind of hire people in patches. So like customer support, 2 hours a day, this 2 hours a day, like whatever. I would say like focus on hiring one person instead of hiring like a whole bunch of them, because you are one person and you will know a lot already. The other common mistake I see a lot is SOPs. So standard operation procedures, right? Like a PDF file that says what you should do for certain tasks. When you were doing everything on your own, how many SOPs did you had? Probably zero.
Yeah.
Right? Because you knew kind of like you did it 5 times, you know how to do it already. Simple, right? So when I hired people the second time around, my approach was when the first time I hired, I kind of tried to make them feel like they were joining a big organization. Like I know what I'm doing, So I had like SOPs, I had like a lot of stuff prepared. I prepared like nice PDF files, onboarding letters, like all of that stuff. And after like, I don't know, a week, they kind of went over all of that already, So then I need to kind of, what do I do now? So the second time around, what I did is I decided not to have anything. And I just told them, look, this is a startup company. You're going to help me build it up, right? This is where we are now. This is where we're going to be in 3 years. This is where I want to be. This is what the organization chart is going to look like in 3 years. It was very different than what I wanted initially. But the goal was to actually show them, look, you're now here. You're going to be here in 3 years. That's the goal of the company. And let's build it together, So I think that if you have the right team, that drives them as well.
For sure.
For success for the company, but then they also feel like a part of a bigger thing, so they will help you build it. And let's say you want to do an SOP, the wrong way to do it is to basically go in, do a YouTube video or like Loom video, whatever, and then do an SOP yourself, a PDF file, and then you hand it over to your employee. The problem with that is that they might do the task, but you don't know if they actually understood it because they're just doing it from what they understood. So instead of what I do is either they shadow me to kind of see how I do things, or I just tell them, look, watch this YouTube video, right? Because now there are YouTube videos about anything. Like you can go to YouTube and say, how do I open a shipment on Amazon, right? In Sell Central. And that changed like 10 times over the years, right?
Yes.
Anyway, so even if I have an SOP, it's not relevant anymore. So I can tell them, look, go ahead, watch that video, and then write the PDF in terms of like in screenshots, how should we do it, right? Yes. And after you do that, I'll approve that PDF, and you'll shoot a video of you doing it for the first time, and I'll approve that, and that's the SOP. But if you have employees that are basically teaching themselves how to do things, that's how they learn the best. So I think that is overlooked by a lot of sales. They think, to hire someone, I need to have like everything in folders and ready to go. You don't need anything. That's why you hire a team in the first place. Like in the book, I have this cartoon in the book that says, you don't grow to hire, you hire to grow, right? So basically, like you should hire the first person as soon as you can afford to, and they will help you build up the team and build up the business.
Yeah, 100%. I'm pretty sure that I heard you saying that, and that's exactly what I did when I built my first SOP. I didn't really build it. I had the video recording of my screen showing the process. Let her watch it, make sure that she work on it for a few days or a few weeks. Then I confirm that or validate she knows how to do it. Once I know she knows how to do it, I let her write it as a SOP. And I agree with you. They have to do it. It's a really time-consuming task that could really delay you from hiring. And a lot of people, I see this also all the time. A lot of people don't hire because they feel that they don't have SOP. They kind of feel overwhelmed and all of that. They don't have to do it. Okay. Now, this is this is another thing that I'm pretty sure I heard from you saying, that how you kind of initiative and have the employees, the VAs, contribute their own ideas to you, because like I said, they are masters. After they're doing it for 6, 8 months, a year, they're better at the task than you are. So they have ideas and kind of insights that you don't have, but you still want to hear them as the business owner, so it can help you for the bigger picture. How you encourage them? What's your system for that? For me, I'll give my 2 cents about my system on Trello. At the end of the day, every day, Trello, ClickUp, whatever you use, a task that it's called feedback and reporting. Feedback is what they went through the day, just describe to me, so I kind of see whether they have free time, they can take more tasks, just some kind of I have a control on what they do, and suggestions on the things they do. They have to tell me how they can improve it and how they do it. But curious to know how you do it.
I understand. So I found like a loophole, right, in this thing, because let's say someone is in customer support, and then you give them a task like product research. They're like, oh, this is outside of my job, right? I'm not supposed to do this. So what I again, early on, what I did is I told anyone joining the team, I told them, look, you're going to have your day job, right? But then you also have goals for the next 90 days. And you're going to have like 2 or 3 big goals for the next 90 days that you need to kind of try and do. These goals can come from you, and I can also help you brainstorm what those goals are, right? But that is kind of like outside of their comfort zone. And my team came up with like crazy stuff to do because they need to have some goals, right? Like on the table. So whenever they have free time, that's what they do. I think you also need to always have something for your team when there is free time for them to have something else to do. So this can be like, again, courses to watch, content, books to listen to, like whatever, right? But it's good to give them something. So one of the goals I remember early on, one of my managers had was, let's do a Q&A system. Let's go over all of the Q&A from competitors for new products and put that in our wiki. And then we have like all of the top questions everyone asks competitors already, so we already know the answers to those questions they're going to ask us in customer support, right? Like crazy stuff like that I wouldn't like even think of, right? Or they said, look, let's go to competitors, download all of the reviews, and then see the top keywords and make sure those keywords are in our bullet points. Like I'm like, okay, that's a good idea.
Beautiful. I love the idea that you kind of let them decide about the goals, because it's
because
a lot of times we are like that,
Yeah, whatever. Like a lot of like product ideas, like a lot of that is coming from these initiatives or strategy, and that always makes them think bigger than their own position in the company. And I think that's really important. And then what I do is every month we have a call on strategy to kind of see where the goals are, and every 3 months we try to restart the goals and kind of start from scratch again.
Yeah. Okay, that's really amazing, and I do have more questions, but I want to keep it short and engaging for the viewers. So I would like to thank you. I think there is a lot of valuable information. Again, I don't think it's like the most sexiest topic, but I think it's one of the most important things. And you mentioned that everyone likes to focus on product development. For me, it's actually the opposite. I like to focus on those kind of areas. That's what I'm good at, and that's my passion is. And I learned a lot even from this conversation. So thank you. I know that you have a very busy schedule. I think that I'm trying to get you here on the channel for like 2 years now. So finally it happened, and I appreciate you coming here and sharing your knowledge. Why don't you just give a little bit about what you're working on top of the book? I know that you have a event soon that's in Greece, right?
Yeah. So I'm doing a lot of things at the same time. But the book, I will just say one point about the book. Like the last, I think, quarter or even third of the book is all about hiring, delegating, build systems, hiring people, like all of the things we've talked today, but a lot in more detail, like in the book as well. So
and
I have
today you told me that there is an audiobook version, which that's why I didn't buy the book yet. I'm not a guy that reads anymore. I only listen to audiobooks. So there is an audiobook version of it, which I'm going to buy just after this call. So check it out. I'll put a link in the description for sure. And what else you're working on? How you do all these things at the same time?
I have my event that I've been doing since 2017. We had a break during COVID, but this year it's going to be in Santorini in Greece. It was sold out in a week. So if you want to join next year, make sure to kind of be quick when trying to join. The event is a bit different because it's only big sellers speaking and big sellers attending. So it's a bit different than most events. And I'm also doing some consulting again for bigger sellers. So if you are a bigger seller and you're listening, and probably helped you with your business to kind of build a plan. If you want to exit, if you want to grow, whatever it is you're trying to do, I can probably help you out. But lastly, I will say that this is, I think, the first time I'm mentioning this on a podcast, but I'm actually working on a physical product brand that's going to be visible for everyone to see. Very soon. It's gonna be live in a few months, and we're gonna do everything. We're gonna do Kickstarter, Amazon, Shopify with the first product, and everyone is gonna get to see what that product is. I would love to send you a sample as well, Tomer, to kind of check it out.
Sure,
I think
I
you like the
would
product,
to check.
but yeah, it's gonna be a really cool product that has been in the works for, I think, 6 or 7 months now. And we're gonna do patents around it. We're gonna do a whole bunch of stuff, and it's gonna be a really cool product and a very cool project as well. And this is like an actual brand. You know, a lot of people in the industry did a case study of one product or something. This is not a case study. It's a brand built from scratch for a certain audience.
And you share everything. Everything gonna be
I share
transparent and
everything. We're
open.
gonna share like all of the backend stuff, like everything with like Amazon sales as well. But everything is gonna be out in the open. Everyone can see everything we did. We are even recording all of the Zoom calls as well. So if someone wants access to that, we'll give them access to that as well to kind of see all, like, see whatever you want. I don't care. Like, just completely lifting the hood so you can kind of see what building a brand looks like. And this has been hours and hours of like work into this. Also my work, and also my team's work as well. So this is like really exciting project. And this is actually under Top Dog name. So my consulting business, that's going to be under that umbrella and not under my other Amazon brands.
Amazing. I'm sure that this is a specific or a gap I think there exists currently in the way that people teach Amazon. You can't really see what people are doing for whatever reasons, whether are good or not. It doesn't matter. I think that's going to be a really good success, I'm sure. And yeah, we'll check it out once it's available. For sure, I would love to get and try it out. Thank you, Tomer, again. I appreciate it. You have a good one. Good night there. And yeah, hope to see you again in the future. I hope not in 2 years.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.